As President Donald Trump's ultimatum ticks down to its final seconds, a bombshell intelligence leak has emerged from the corridors of power in Washington and Tel Aviv. A covert operation codenamed the Net aimed at capturing Iran's supreme leader Ali Khamenei alive. According to multiple sources, this is a joint US-Israeli plan designed not to kill Khamenei, but to seize him. The moment of judgment has arrived. Iran's military airfields have already been flattened by Israeli strikes, and the U.S. supercarrier USS Abraham Lincoln has effectively sealed off every escape route. The U.S.-Israel alliance no longer appears interested in killing from a distance. Instead, an unprecedented and audacious plan is taking shape, one that would bring Iran's supreme leader before international justice. First, the question everyone is asking: why capture him alive instead of eliminating him? Rather than a stealth missile assassination, strategic advisors to President Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu believe that capturing Khamenei alive offers far greater strategic value: a bloodless outcome. A live arrest would prevent Iran from retaliating with its full ballistic or potentially nuclear arsenal, while simultaneously shattering the will to fight within the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC. An international court. A public trial would serve as the ultimate political and ideological death blow to Iran's theocratic regime, clearing the path for Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi to return and oversee a peaceful transition. Civil war could be avoided by capturing the supreme leader instead of killing him. The U.S. and Israel would deny the regime the ability to turn Khamenei into a martyr, dramatically reducing the risk of extremist backlash. Third, the operators are ready to execute this near-impossible mission, what may be the most elite joint special operations force in modern history has been quietly assembled: U.S. Delta Force and Israel's Sayeret Matkal. According to intelligence leaks, these units have trained extensively on underground bunker replicas modeled after Khamenei's fortified compounds. Equipped with stealth systems and next-generation combat gear, their mission is to infiltrate the Beit Rahaba complex in Tehran. The operation would begin only after Iran's defenses are fully paralyzed through electronic warfare, precision strikes, and internal guidance. One of the most shocking details: assistance from dissident officers within Khamenei's own security detail. These insiders are believed to have struck secret agreements with the United States in exchange for guaranteed protection once the regime collapses. Tehran's response: the final solid wall. Following reports of the capture plan, Ali Khamenei is believed to have been moved into a hardened underground bunker hundreds of meters below ground, designed to withstand even nuclear attack. A living shield. The most loyal IRGC units have formed dense defensive rings around him, prepared to fight to the last man. A continental trap. U.S. Intelligence has warned that the area surrounding Khamenei may be rigged with self-destruct systems designed to prevent any attempt to take him alive. Conclusion: the ultimate gamble. It sounds like a Hollywood script, but in Donald Trump's world, where dramatic endings are the rule, not the exception, capturing Iran's supreme leader alive is not unthinkable. The world is holding its breath, watching every movement of the special operations teams. If successful, this would be the most shocking geopolitical event of the 21st century, ending half a century of confrontation and opening a new era for Iran. If it fails, it could ignite a horrific bloodbath in the heart of Tehran. Amid extreme tensions across the Middle East, in mid-January 2026, the fate of Ali Khamenei has become the central question in every global military and political scenario. Based on the latest developments as of the 19th of January 2026, the situation is tilting toward a high-stakes strategic chess match between Washington and Tel Aviv. What follows is an analysis of the scenarios currently sitting on the desks of President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The moment of judgment in Tehran. Eliminate or capture what fate awaits Khamenei. Scenario 1. Elimination. Israel is ready, but Trump vetoes. In June 2025, leaked intelligence cited by AP and Reuters confirmed that Israel had presented the U.S. with a detailed plan to assassinate Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei through a preemptive airstrike. President Trump rejected it. Washington's reasoning was clear. Killing the Supreme Leader risked turning him into a martyr, triggering Iran's full ballistic missile arsenal, and potentially dragging the region into an uncontrollable nuclear war. The alternative objective. Instead of targeting the individual, the U.S. prioritized demilitarization, destroying nuclear facilities and air defense capabilities, as demonstrated by the recent strikes that leveled 12 Iranian bases. The capture scenario. International justice or forced surrender. In recent days of January 2026, the idea of capturing Khamenei or forcing him into exile has gained serious momentum. Operation Net. Some military analysts speculate about a special forces raid coordinated with anti-regime IRGC officers, designed to seize Khamenei inside his bunker and place him on public trial, obliterating the legitimacy of Iran's theocratic system. Plan B. The Moscow escape route. Rumors have also surfaced that Khamenei may be preparing to flee to Moscow if Tehran collapses. This suggests Washington may be deliberately leaving a narrow exit allowing him to leave, rather than triggering a final, catastrophic bloodbath in the capital. In the end, the choice comes down to one question: eliminate or capture. For now, the United States and Israel appear to be pursuing a strategy of dismantling the regime, while sparing the individual specifically to avoid triggering a nuclear flashpoint. However, if the 24-hour ultimatum expires and Iran still launches ballistic or nuclear missiles or carries out mass killings of civilians at Azadi Square, the order to eliminate target number 1 could be signed immediately by President Trump directly from aboard the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln. Tonight, the fate of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei is no longer in his own hands. It now rests in the barrels of the rifles carried by soldiers moving toward Tehran and in the flight paths of F-35 squadrons circling high in the stratosphere. History is repeating itself, but on a far more brutal scale. President Donald Trump has just played his decisive card, while Israel has officially unlocked its stealth squadrons, preparing to deliver surgical strikes aimed at the very throat of Iran. First, the 24-hour ultimatum: surrender or face destruction. From the White House, President Donald Trump delivered a short but heavy message to Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. A 24-hour ultimatum has been issued with non-negotiable demands. Immediately halt the domestic crackdown on protesters, which has already claimed thousands of lives. According to reports from CBS and I24 News, Iran must fully stand down its ballistic missile units, currently aimed at U.S. and Israeli bases. All nuclear facilities must be opened unconditionally to international inspectors. President Trump declared that the clock is ticking. Tehran's leadership has 24 hours to choose either a new future for the Iranian people or the permanent collapse of the regime. Second, Israel opens fire, flattening air defense command centers. Without waiting for the ultimatum to expire, the Israeli Air Force launched thunderous preemptive strikes. Under Operation Sunfire, dozens of F-35I Adir stealth fighters penetrated Iranian airspace, striking directly at S-300 air defense systems and early warning radar stations. Damage assessments from intelligence sources confirm that at least 3 air defense bases around Tehran have been completely destroyed. Israel's objective is clear: blind Iran before the supercarrier USS Abraham Lincoln delivers the decisive blow. Prime Minister Netanyahu's message was blunt: "We do not seek war, but we will not allow our enemies the time or space to prepare firepower against our children." Third, Trump's pressure strategy using Iran against itself. As the ultimatum countdown continues, the United States has rolled out additional sanctions targeting Iran's elite and its shadow banking networks. But the most devastating blow has been political and psychological. Washington has openly voiced support for Iran's internal protest movement. President Trump's pledge to protect the Iranian people has acted as a powerful catalyst, driving millions into the streets. The Khamenei government now faces the prospect of internal civil conflict, at the very moment its military infrastructure is being pounded by Israeli airstrikes from the outside. Conclusion: humanity's 24-hour deadline. The world is standing at the edge of catastrophe. On one side stands the overwhelming power of the US-Israel alliance, backed by supercarriers and stealth technology. On the other stands Iran's vow to fight to the end, quietly supported by what many describe as the Axis of Darkness. Only hours remain to determine whether Tehran chooses dialogue or triggers an apocalypse with thousands of ballistic missiles. Tonight, no one in the Middle East will sleep. Fourth, the global chessboard shakes. Moscow and Beijing are forced to reveal their hands. The moment the 24-hour ultimatum was announced, the first reactions did not come from Tehran, but from Moscow and Beijing. According to analysis by Reuters and the Financial Times, Russia immediately raised alert levels at several bases in the Caucasus and the Caspian, not to intervene militarily, but to guard against a cascading collapse. The Kremlin understands one thing clearly: if Ali Khamenei is captured alive and brought before an international court, that precedent would become a nightmare for any regime built on theocracy or personal rule. As a result, Moscow has chosen a freeze strategy, calling for restraint, opening quiet back channels, and refusing to commit to protecting Tehran if it drives itself over the edge. Beijing has been even colder. According to commentary in The Economist, China has no vital interest in protecting Khamenei as an individual. What Beijing cares about is energy flow and commercial stability. A post-Khamenei Iran that avoids civil war and continues exporting oil under international oversight is an outcome China can live with. So while its rhetoric still emphasizes national sovereignty, China's real response has been calculated silence. Fifth, the nuclear factor, the life or death key to the final decision. In every Iran crisis, nuclear weapons loom like a shadow. But experts cited by the New York Times and CNN note that Iran's nuclear launch authority is not as centralized as in other nuclear powers. It is fragmented across multiple layers of IRGC command. That fragmentation is both a risk and an opportunity. A risk, because a radical commander could act alone. An opportunity, because once the political religious head is isolated, the chain of command collapses. This is why Washington has not rushed to pull the trigger. The current campaign is designed to choke the nervous system, not to cut off the head immediately. Destroy air defenses, blind radar, isolate commanders, let fear erode loyalty from within. In that logic, capturing Khamenei alive becomes the perfect endgame, neutralizing the symbol without triggering the nuclear red button. Sixth, inside Iran, the IRGC shield begins to crack. Images circulating on Iranian social media, verified by BBC, Persian, and France 24, reveal a harsh reality. The IRGC is no longer a solid block of steel. Rear line units are hesitating. Many younger officers are not willing to die for an 80-year-old cleric hiding deep underground. History has shown that regimes do not collapse first from bombs. They collapse when loyalty dissolves. If Khamenei is captured alive, the IRGC will face a stark choice: continue fighting for a symbol stripped of power, or turn their guns inward to preserve their lives and their place in a new order. Analysts at the Brookings Institution conclude that in this scenario, most of the IRGC would choose survival, not martyrdom. Seventh, the Hour G scenarios, 3 paths in the next 72 hours. From a strategic perspective, only 3 viable paths remain. Path 1. Controlled surrender. Tehran accepts the core demands: halt repression, open nuclear sites, and allow Khamenei to step down for health reasons. This is the least bloody option, but also the one the supreme leader is least likely to accept. Path 2. Surgical capture. A rapid special operations raid, supported by internal defectors, removes Khamenei from his bunker. No flags, no victory speech. Just a brief announcement: the target is secured. This is the scenario Washington and Tel Aviv are quietly preparing for if the ultimatum expires.
Path 3. Forced elimination. If Iran crosses the red line launching ballistic missiles or carrying out mass civilian slaughter, all restraints vanish. The decision becomes purely military. The order is signed, and history takes its bloodiest turn. Eighth, geopolitical consequences. What comes after Khamenei? A post-Khamenei Iran does not instantly become pro-Western, but it opens the door to reconstruction. A transitional government. The return of Reza Pahlavi as a symbolic figure. An internationally supervised electoral roadmap. Most importantly, Iran would no longer be the Middle East's ticking time bomb. For Israel, the most immediate existential threat of the past 40 years would disappear. For the United States, this would be a regional reset comparable to the removal of Saddam Hussein, but more precise, less bloody, and far more strategically deterrent. Final conclusion: Tehran's longest night. Never before has the fate of one man been so tightly bound to the destiny of an entire region. Ali Khamenei, once the supreme authority, has become the final chess piece on a board he no longer controls. The clock is still running. Every passing minute is not just military pressure, but psychological erosion for those who remain loyal. If Tehran wakes tomorrow in silence, no missiles, no massacres, history will mark this as the moment the Middle East turned a page. If not, the world will witness one of the bloodiest crises since the dawn of the 21st century. Tonight, it is not only Tehran that is awake. The entire world is holding its breath, waiting to see whether Donald Trump's final gamble ends with a historic courtroom or with an explosion that tears apart the Middle Eastern dawn.